Okay. Um, as I'm seeing myself just breaking down and being fatigued and tired because of the non-stop manipulations and tormenting tactics, which is done by these bottom feeders. They're just implementing the tactics, and their job is to do these things. At this point, it's just also because I'm tired. But at the end of the day, I get a chance to listen to what when I talk to talk to myself at this point, or making videos and understanding how I make more sense than ever. It's crazy. So let me just introduce myself properly. I'm a target individual. What it means is I'm a human subject in the development of this technology that the Department of Defense has been working on for a long time. And you hear a lot of TIs, and a lot of TIs talk about the different things that's happening to them. And it's a lot of things that almost sounds almost unreal, not real. And so the things are just insane. You hear the different stories of how they have a bunch of people around them making life hard for them to live, making it hard for them to function. That people around them try to push them to insanity and losing their mind, and try to push them to suicide. You hear a lot of things like that, but and then it takes it to another level when you hear about the technology that some of these target individuals deal with. I'm one of them who not only am a target individual, but they're also implementing this extremely sophisticated technology to rewire me, to manipulate me. And it's something that is done, consistently to continuously rewire me and change me. And for me, I was put in this program, unfortunately, by no employer. But at least I know where it came from. I understand when it all started. It kind of everything just kind of at least put themselves in the same, like it makes sense. Once you understand that this thing is it's been a global program that's been implemented a long time ago, and the tactics are very similar. You're gonna hear the same things over and over and over. You're gonna hear that same stories over and over, and because it's very systematic. Uh, Thankfully, in the midst of me being tortured and targeted, I've learned more and learned more to the point where, as much as things are frustrating, annoying, things go back to my first videos. In my first channel was done in July 2020, and basically talks about exactly what I'm going through. And it's crazy because today I'm saying the same thing in 2020 I was talking about, right? Today is 2023. In 2020 I was talking about exactly the same thing. And this technology has the complete ability to override your thoughts and force you to think in different ways that aren't organically the way you would think. And to go further, manipulate your perceptions. My first video I made about perception manipulation was after an extreme like manipulation. Then it pushed me to make a video. And in 2020, I talked about my perception being changed. Not be able to perceive things the way I would perceive naturally. And I think I made that first video in 2020, and I talk about how my own perceptions are no longer mine. My perceptions have turned into extreme, have been extremely perverted. Not to say I'm a saint. I've definitely had very sexual perceptions of women, many, but this has made even the ability to see things in a sexual way that aren't you would not naturally see in a sexual way, and they can do it from one extreme to another. Babies to older kids, and force you to start seeing things in different ways that you will not naturally see things. And so I've been recording a lot of what they've been doing to me, but it's non-stop. Right? It's non-stop. Oh, this person, they make me look at her. It's like, I know I will not look at her like that. Why am I being forced like that? And it's not like people that you like, oh wow, this voluptuous. No, just like very like just. It's like, oh, that would not. I would not feel anything. I would not see anything in regard sexual. Like it's not that. And unfortunately, they can do that to anybody. And then they try to make you feel guilty for how they manipulate your perceptions and try to get you to be subscriptive of it, right? And try to make you identify to this. So for me, they want me to look at children in sexual ways, or not even children, but even people who look like children, or anybody who they can present them as children. They want me to look at them in a sexual way, and it's not something that you nor natural will experience, but they have to force you to perceive them in these sexual ways. And so it's just nonstop, right? And I've continuously talked about it, made videos, show like this is they making me look at this person this way, but it's just nonstop. I cannot do that all the time because it's nonstop. And so with me, what's happening now is like they're going back to the things they've done that they made me perceive in certain ways and try to make me feel guilty. And it's like, you see, we proved it. You see, it's like they bring me back to like last year. Remember that? Like, yeah, I remember when I took a picture of that. And so I have so many pictures that at this point, I'm sure I deleted some. It's just like, it happens so like every day. Somebody, like, it's nonstop. And it can be anything. And they bring it up and try to make you feel guilty. And the worst part is, not only they have the ability to manipulate your current perception, but they can even go into your memory and change how you perceive that. They can even make it worse and perceive it even to another level. That's why I like to take pictures, because at least the picture, as much as they change in real time, once it's in your memory, your memories can be manipulated in other levels, adding layers of perceptions, adding layers of what, like, make you imagine something that was not even there in a picture, making you think that, like, change it completely, right? And then you hear these bottom feeders, right? People around you, that's why you hear the noise. You hear people around you, they're perps, they contracted by the government to try to, like, disturb you, right? And they use these tactics of repetition to disorient you. Oh, no, it's you there. And it is because, for me, like I said, they're using the very sophisticated technology, and V2K is what you're going to hear. V2K is the technology where they can impose their voices onto your brain. And that's when they're going through their repetitions. Oh, not fair. No, it's so you. No, there is. No, it's you. Like, they try to disorient you. And they use different tonalities, right? And try to get you to accept. And on top of that, with me, they had this psyop that you're going to hear a lot about. They try to present themselves as this like femme fatale group of people, and they're so like fraudulent and so like BS. And I truly see them for the trash that they are. So, for example, right now, they tried to bring up something they did to me, and there was like a picture of a person, and you can barely see her face. I remember it was like half of her face or something, and they tried to make me look at her and try to find ways to perceive her in a sexual way. And she's not like somebody who had like curves and things like that. So they had to create this, and this person looked young, but exactly know that her age is one of those people who can go either way. It's like late teen, young adulthood, kind of like, you don't know. And on top of that, not all her face was showing. It was just like a portion of her face. It was, or like a section of her face could be seen in the rest. And so then they try to, like, you see, that's proof. And they try to bring that up because, they know that it's been like, it was last year. It's one of many pictures, one of many things that they've messed with me. And I took a screenshot of that, I think, at one point, and then I probably deleted it or something like that. Because there's so much they can bring up, like, because today I'm going to look at something, they're going to bring that up and go, like, they can do anything. But they just use the things right now that they made me perceive in certain ways. And it's just nonsensical. First of all, the person, you can barely see the whole person. And at the same time, the way they made me, one thing is for sure, the perception of that person was made for me to perceive her in this sexual way. It's not like somebody like, oh, maybe if I look at it, like, no, they were trying to create something sexual about it. And you hear people that you can't even connect with. These people is just like somebody that you tell, trust me, you can never make me believe anything. I know who you are. Like, I know that I cannot connect with you. It's people that you feel so like detached with. Like, you sound so fraudulent. And it's not even fraudulent. You see, she's such a, like, somebody that I can never respect. Like, is those people who can, like, somebody that you can never connect with, right? In the first place, you hear them talk, it's like you everything that I can't even stand. Like, Like, it's such a fraudulent trash. But it's okay. Anybody can do that. They can make somebody that I can connect with, somebody that I maybe be on the same page with, talk in the same way they are with you, and go through the whole like repetitions. And when I speak like that, I'm not just trying to mock them. It's really how they try to sound. They try to sound like, oh, I'm so bored. It's so you. Just listen to. They have this persona and gimmicky ways of kind of interacting with you to try to get you to accept these things. They really try to get you like, oh, it's so you. It's like, but mind you, at this point, I've made so many videos of the different things they've done to me, and they're bringing up things they made me experience, which unfortunately, for that reason, for that specific picture, I don't have that picture anymore. I kind of looked for it, and I looked in my gallery, but there's so many stuff they've messed with me. And in the midst of me actually looking for all this specific one, went through all the nasty other things that made me experience for all the different stuff, like, and I was like, oh, I don't even want to go through it. But they just bring up things they did to me and try to make you feel subscriptive to it. And they're like, how old is she? And first of all, like, I know my memory is already kind of fade up, but you couldn't even see all of her, right? So they would try to make you, first of all, guess this person's age, but on top of that, the perception of this person was manipulated. So even forget about the age guessing. The perception of how I'm looking at this person, I know she was not like, and then that's why I'm like, I wish I had the picture to show. This is the person that made me try to look in a sexual way. Not to say that there's nothing wrong with that. They've done that to much younger person that are actually children, like 9-year-old, like people that a mile away, the babies. Not people that you won't know, like, like actually. So of course they could do that, but like it's manipulated. It's like, yes, I'm sorry. That's, like you have to, like, even let's just say she's like a 25-year-old. I would not feel anything, like, naturally. Like, and not to say, I'm not trying to judge people based on the look, but I'm saying that you should know yourself that this person will not make me react and perceive her in these ways. But they can make me perceive in any ways they want. And so that perception can be manipulated, and they've done that to babies even as young as 9 years old. And so when you have like these people where and I remember purposely just like, I just don't even want to look at the rest of the video. I don't want to show like how little they've shown, and show how they can manipulate that and try to change and create a perception that's sexual about it. And I was like, I don't know how old this person is. I don't, for me to guess, I say late teen, maybe young adulthood, late teen. So you understand that a little. But you're just trying to make me look at her in this sexual way. And that's the way you do the perception manipulation to try to vilify me in these pedophilia ways. This is why when I go through my galleries, there's a bunch of pictures of the things they mess with me. And I try to go, oh, this is what they did to me. Oh, this is what they did. It's like non-stop. And I start recording, making proper recording of it, like later on when I start making more videos. I think this is when I start like putting things more in different, folders and things like that later on. But now they're bringing up the things that might not, it's probably somewhere in my folder somewhere. I have to look for it. But anyways, there's just no points. They can bring something else. Like anything they did to me, they can bring it back. Mind you, since August 19, 2019, I've never not been myself. So they're going to do everything. They're going to bring up everything they did to me and be like, oh, you see, that's so you. And I understand that their job is to try to get you to feel subscriptive to what they do. And understand that, oh, it's you. We prove and understand that, and try to make you accepting of the things they manipulate you. And it's supposed to frustrate you, but when I talk and address these things, I listen to myself, and I'm like, these people, that's why they don't like to be seen. Because I'm not going to subscribe to it. I know you manipulate my perception. This is something even before this, I was talking about it in 2020. Okay, you think today I'm going to be like, no, you know what? No, those are it's so me. I'm not, my perceptions are not being manipulated. And they stand these childlike people. For me, as a target individual, I do hear a lot of childlike individual, which makes sense. because even the approach of like repetitions and try to agitate you sound like children-like ways of tormenting a person. So you can like understand why they would use childlike individuals, but I see them for the trash that they are, the bottom feeders. I understand that the people in charge are obviously not this trash talking, right? Those are just the bottom feeders. They try to create this little persona. They all have this little psyop. Some people call themselves gods. Some others are just trying to pretend like, oh, we don't have children, whatever, when in reality they work for entities filled with pedophiles. And you know, like others try to play like we're the femme fatale, which is when there's a bunch of women being fried, when they work in a program where they're frying and killing and torturing women around the world. Like it's just so foul. Like everybody comes, all these perps come in and create their little persona and create this reality to cope with reality. And me being not the nice guy, in the sense that I don't let them live their fantasy, I'm like, listen to you. Somebody try to sound like, oh, listen to how like, how how badass I am, like how I'm in control. Like, and you hear them, it's like, I know you do that to children too, right? I understand. I know but you have to be strong. It is annoying and frustrating. I will never be myself again. I understand they have rewired my brain into that fashion. It started from August 2019, and I have not been the same since that day. So, till my last breath, till I can speak, I will continuously speak and say the things that needs to be said, because there'll be a day I will not be able to do that. You have to for me, it's also a way to just say the words that you need to say. These bottom fears will have to die at one point. They're not brave people. They are not the bravest. Via V2K, oh my gosh. They even I've seen one of them try to talk. I remember I was at the office where I used to work. Where I work, I don't know, I used to go there. And this person, and this is their purpose. So this current employer for now are perps. So I remember being at the office and I see this they like to use this delusional young 20-some-year-old try to make it seem like this is like a program where there's a bunch of feminists, when in reality they just trash in program that torture women and children. It's so nasty. But she walks and then she turns around and she looks at me and she starts talking. Yeah, no, yeah, and you're gonna die. And it's like, oh my gosh, she literally acts they create a character. Literally living the way the church, and it's it sounds so weak, because that this is a person who can be crying for nothing. She can be crying because she's just feeling kind of depressed. And you oh my gosh, it's oh gosh, Jesus. And so you hear them truly, oh, you're gonna be scared, you're gonna die, you're gonna be starved. They're like, listen, this horrible things are gonna happen to me, but it doesn't need that much for you to feel them even worse than what I'm gonna feel. And fear more than I'm going to fear. So to all my target individuals, stay strong. This, for me, gave me a strength that I couldn't believe I had. I've seen people just become just children. Grown men, women, turn into children to try to cope with reality. Seeing, and of course the weakest shine the most. The weakest become stronger, and the weakest they're like, oh, it's my time to feel it's my time to be strong. And because this technology, has everything, can control your mind. For example, before I say the word shine, somebody else said it, because they can make me say things that they want me to say. Now I understand this is how the technology is sophisticated. But this person who's you're gonna shine, and I'm supposed to be like, oh my gosh, he said the word before I said it. But I understand the technology is that sophisticated that they can say things, they can make me say things in certain ways, they can make me say it, say whatever they need me to say. But it doesn't stop from these perps to be just bottom feeders. They might know everything about what's gonna happen to me. They have no idea what's gonna happen to them. And I've been validated in so many ways. I've seen somebody tell me how awkward things were. They tried to make fun of me killing themselves. I've seen people laughing about things and then horrible things happen to them. So my life is super orchestrated. They know what's going to happen to me. But they have no idea what's going to happen to them. And that is where the magic of life happens. It's the orchestration of what's going to happen to me is definitely created, having no idea what's going to happen to them. And that's where the real surprise is. So to all target individual, this dignity and sufferance, I'm telling you. Because these people involved in your targeting, these perps, these bottom feeders, have no idea what's going to happen to them. They can hope, plan for the best. But unless it has to do with you, they have no idea what's going to happen to them. And that's when the surprise comes. So stay strong.